Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to crack open the essential toolkit for anyone who wants to prove their project is making a real impact. We're talking all about data collection for monitoring and evaluation. So, let's get right into it.
This is the big question, right? You've got this fantastic idea, you're pouring your heart and soul into the work, but how do you actually prove it's working? And that's exactly where monitoring and evaluation, or M&E as you'll hear it called, comes in. At its heart, M&E is just the system you use to gather proof. It's how you keep tabs on your progress as you go, and in the end, measure your success. Basically, it's about swapping guesswork for actual, solid evidence so you can make smart decisions. All right, here's the game plan. We'll start with the why. Why data is basically the fuel for any successful project. Then we'll get into the two main flavors of data, qualitative and quantitative. After that, we'll open up the toolbox and look at the methods themselves, figure out how to pick the right one for your project, and then wrap up with some super important rules about data quality and ethics. Okay, first things first. Why even bother with all this data stuff? Well, to put it simply, without it, you're pretty much flying blind. Collecting data isn't just some boring task for filling out reports. It's a super strategic move. It gives you that hard evidence to show you're succeeding and lets you see exactly how close you are to your goals. And maybe most importantly, it waves a big red flag when you need to change things up. It's your early warning system and your opportunity radar all in one.
Okay, so here's a crucial thing to get. Not all data is the same. Understanding the two main types, qualitative and quantitative, is probably one of the most important ideas you'll need to grasp in M&E.
Here's an easy way to think about it. Quantitative data gives you the numbers, the charts, the what. And qualitative data, that gives you the story behind the numbers, the why. So one tells you that 50% of people came to your workshop, the other tells you why they absolutely loved it.
So to break it down even simpler, if you're asking how many or what was the score, you're in the quantitative world. Things like attendance numbers or survey ratings. But if you find yourself asking why, you're diving headfirst into qualitative data. You're not just counting people, you're trying to understand their experiences.
And here's the real takeaway. You absolutely need both. The real magic, the really powerful insights, happen when you put them together. The numbers tell you what happened, and the stories and quotes tell you why it actually mattered. That combo gives you the full picture.
All right, so we've got our types of data down. Now let's open up the M&E toolbox and look at the actual tools you'll be using to collect it.
First up, we've got the real workhorse of M&E, surveys and questionnaires. These are pretty much your go-to method when you need to get information from a whole bunch of people in a consistent and comparable way.
Now, like any tool, they've got their pros and cons. The great thing about surveys is you can reach hundreds, even thousands of people pretty quickly, and the number-based data is super easy to analyze. The big downside? You often lose that deeper context, and you can't ask someone to explain their answer.
So for example, an education project could survey 500 students and ask them to rate a new curriculum from 1 to 5. This gives them a fantastic snapshot of overall satisfaction, but it won't tell them why a particular student gave it a 2 instead of a 4.
So if surveys give you the what, how do you get the why? Well, that brings us to our next tool, interviews. This is where you get to go deep, having one-on-one conversations to really dig into someone's experience. The massive upside here is the incredible depth you get. You can ask follow-up questions. You can explore unexpected ideas. You get the real story. The flip side? It's a huge time investment, both to conduct the interviews and to analyze all that rich, detailed information afterward. Let's look at a classic example. A health program might see from its records that clinic attendance is low. A survey could confirm this. But it's only through in-depth interviews with, say, 15 mothers that they can uncover the real stories. Maybe it's a transportation issue or a lack of trust in the staff. Stuff that numbers alone will never tell you.
All right, next in the toolbox, focus group discussions. Now this is more than just interviewing a bunch of people at the same time. It's a carefully guided conversation designed to see how people's ideas bounce off each other and to understand shared community beliefs.
What's really cool about focus groups is that group dynamic. You can see a consensus forming, or you can uncover shared community values. The trick, though, is managing it. You have to make sure 1 or 2 loud people don't dominate the whole conversation.
So think about this. A water sanitation project wants to build new wells. They could interview people one by one, sure. Or they could hold a focus group with village elders. By doing that, they're tapping into a lifetime of collective wisdom about where the ground holds water and where it doesn't, something much more powerful than any single opinion.
Okay, so we've got a toolbox full of awesome methods, surveys, interviews, focus groups, but the big question is, how do you know which one to pick? It's not about just grabbing one at random. It's about being strategic. Luckily, you don't need some super complicated strategy. Just follow these 4 simple steps. First, and this is the most important, define what you actually need to know. Don't collect data just for the sake of it. Second, figure out your timeline, when and how often. Third, now you can select the right tools that actually answer your questions. And finally, number 4, you've got to set up clear rules or protocols to make sure everyone's collecting data the same way.
And that last point about quality is so critical it gets its own section. Because let me tell you, bad data is actually worse than having no data at all. It can lead you in a completely wrong and sometimes harmful direction.
This really all boils down to being professional and responsible. We're talking about using secure tools, not just for accuracy, but to protect the people giving you their information. It means having those clear protocols so your data is reliable no matter who collects it. And most of all, and I can't stress this enough, you have to protect the privacy of your participants. That trust, it's everything.
All right, let's pull all these threads together. You've got the concepts, you've seen the tools, your M&E journey really starts right now. So if you remember anything from this, remember these 4 things. 1. M&E is all about using data to prove your impact and improve what you do. 2. The best insights come from mixing quantitative, the what, with qualitative, the why. 3. Always pick the tool that fits your question, not the other way around. And finally, 4. Plan everything carefully and always be ethical. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Every single project has a story of its impact, just waiting to be told. The only question is, what data are you going to collect to tell that story in a way that's powerful, honest, and truly makes a difference?